Let me ask you a personal question. Do you feel you're becoming the person you were meant to be? Maybe for you, that's the person who feels a deep sense of joy, being financially free, or the one who builds truly connected relationships. Perhaps it's the leader who finally trusts their own vision, or the creator who is not held back by self doubt. You are doing all the right things, listening to podcasts, following the gurus, meditating, or maybe you already tried coaching. But the gap between who you are and who you're meant to be is just there. I lost almost everything because of that gap. Hi, I'm Aayush. On the outside, my life looked perfect. I was the chief digital architect at world famous brands, leading teams and designing complex software systems that powered over 100 million in revenue. But on the inside, it was a different story. I am not here with more tips on what to do. I think you already know most of them. I'm here to show you why most of us are stuck trying to close the gap between where we are and the life we are meant to live, why it is not our fault, but still our problem to solve, and how we can close the gap for good. A huge part of that why it's so hard to close that gap comes down to a single question. But before we go to that question, let me tell you why I left my high-paying corporate job to set up this YouTube channel. You see, my entire life's work as architect was to deconstruct and design incredibly complex architectures and explain them to stakeholders in simple, clear language to get their buy-in. So, I pointed that one skill at the most important system on the planet, the human mind. Not because it was interesting, but because my own life depended on it. The gap between what I was doing and what I wanted to do became so big that it almost broke me. So I went on a 7-year quest to deconstruct the human mind, combining everything between neuroscience and ancient philosophy, and use my systems thinking. What came out from that not only changed my life, but the lives of many others I've guided. I realized this wasn't just a solution, it was a responsibility. That is why I left my career. Because I realized this wasn't just my problem. It's the defining challenge of our generation. It is my calling. I need to be very direct here. This channel is not about positive thinking, quick tips, motivational speech, or habit coaching. We are going deep, to the roots. I'm here to show you why it's incredibly hard to do the things you already know you should do, and give you the working map to finally fix it. Think of it this way. We are not here to change the desktop background. We are going to examine the operating system itself. Now, these might sound like big promises or another self-help guru on YouTube. I would have felt the same, so I hear you. That's why I'm not asking you for your trust. I'm asking you to trust your own experience with me. Every video I build on this channel will be built on 2 concrete principles: verifiable science and your own direct felt experience. This is the first episode of the foundational 6-part docuseries I call The Becoming. My goal with the first 6 episodes is not to solve every problem. Of course, that's impossible. My goal is to give you 3 things. A clear map. You will finally get a clear picture of the inner system that creates your self-doubt, your anxiety, and keeps you stuck comfortably exactly in the place you want, so that you can see and stop fighting a war, and you can see exactly what's happening. A new relationship with your mind. You will learn how to stop being pushed around by your past. Instead of fighting your mind, you will learn how to lead it, making it a friend instead of an obstacle. And finally, a practical plan to close the gap. You will get a step-by-step action plan built on science. Simple enough for you to consume in your daily life. In today's episode, we will lay the first crucial piece of the foundation. By the end of this video today, you will have first a name for the invisible force, so you can finally see and experience for yourself the real problem you're up against. Secondly, a clear picture of the inner conflict playing out in our daily life, and you'll meet the key players involved. And finally, a new liberating perspective. You'll understand why this struggle is not your fault, which can begin to lift the weight of self-blame. Now, To truly understand what's really happening, let's look at Adam's story. Adam is a leader in a corporate company. He has built a life that looks successful from the outside, but on the inside, he is exhausted and feels like an imposter. He repeats the positive affirmations he learned from a podcast, but the inner voice of the imposter just feels more real. All he truly wants is to feel the joy of his own success and lead with genuine passion. That same conflict follows him home. He becomes the overwhelmed parent and the disconnected individual, running on autopilot and feeling guilty for not being present. He has even tried the no phones at dinner rule he heard a guru recommend, but the pull to escape the day's stress feels overpowering. His deepest desire is to put down the phone, listen completely to the loved ones, and share a real meaningful connection with the people he loves the most. And in the quiet moments, he is the seeker of meaning and the midlife reinventor. He feels empty, disconnected from purpose, and stuck as he watches others take the risks he's afraid to take. His feed is full of gurus telling him to just start, just be disciplined, but the gap between their advice and his reality feels a million miles wide. A part of him is screaming to find his purpose and build a life that truly feels like his own. But instead, he's left with that terrifying thought. Is this it? Is this really all there is for me? Be honest. When was the last time you looked at someone else's life and quietly thought, they figured it out. Why am I still stuck? That feeling, that inner conflict, that is the feeling of the war. It's the friction between the life we find ourselves living and the life that we know deep down we were meant for. This is the reality of the gap. So remember the question I asked in the beginning? The why it's so hard to close that gap between the person you are and the person you're meant to be? It comes out that this is the single question that matters the most. What does the voice in your head really sound like? Is it a friend that encourages you? Or is it a critic that keeps you safe? Does it ask, what if you fly? Or does it warn you, what if you fall? That voice is the sound of the gap. It's the sound of an inner civil war. Have you ever wondered what's the most successful and joyous people you admire know that you don't? Consciously or unconsciously, all the successful people have solved a single problem that no one talks about. They have closed the gap by resolving a silent inner war. And that war is not your fault. It's the predictable result of what I call the Great Mismatch. The conflict between your conscious desire to grow and move in line with the modern world and your brain's outdated programming that's designed to keep you safe. You see, our brain's most powerful automatic part is built for the savannah, not for Zoom calls and spreadsheets. Unless we make this most powerful part of the brain our best friend and update it for the modern world, this mismatch, as I will prove to you in this series, is the root cause of our modern misery. It's why so many of us live with chronic stress, burnout, anxiety, feeling stuck in work or relationships, and quiet dissatisfaction even when life looks good on the outside. While you could go forward without resolving this mismatch, it would be the biggest risk you can take right now. AI is making this work urgent for all of us. You see, AI is accelerating the pace of change around us. The skills your future will demand, creativity, courage, emotional presence. As I will prove in this series, these are the exact skills being suppressed by the Great Mismatch. Now, this might raise a question in your mind. Hang on, if this ancient programming was so brilliant at keeping us alive for a millennia, why is it a problem now suddenly? A system for savannah survival seems pretty irrelevant for spreadsheets and Zoom calls, right? That's a fantastic question. The problem isn't that the system is broken. It's that it's working perfectly, but in a world it was never designed for. Now let's wear our architect hat and peek under the hood on what's really happening. My investigation revealed a truth that explains that constant negative chatter in your head. It explains that background hum of misery so many of us feel. It's the sound of a civil war being fought inside your mind, between two powerful parts of you. On one side, you have what I call the autopilot. It operates below conscious awareness and is very powerful and fast. This is the part of your mind running on the ancient fear-based programming of what I call your ancient survivor. It's a brilliant energy-saving system for automating repetitive actions. Have you ever been driving and suddenly realize you don't remember the last few miles? Now, this system, while running on ancient fear-based code, that's the outdated part for our modern world. And that old code is now the source of your doubt, your fear, the urge to play small. On the other side, we have what I call the visionary. This is your conscious mind, the leader, and your CEO inside you that holds your goals, your dreams, and your deepest values. This is the part which you see more active in people who you call true visionaries or innovators. We all have this visionary inside us. Here is the core of the problem. These two are locked in a constant misaligned war. The autopilot's ancient fear-based programming directly conflicts with the visionary's desire for joy, growth, and meaning. This raises the most important question of all. If the autopilot is so powerful, it can even hijack our rational mind, how on earth do we intervene? How do we get these two sides aligned? The answer lies in the most important part of the map, the secret that changes everything. There is a third player you probably don't know exists. It's not another soldier, it's the leader. It's a part of you that can rise above the conflict, see the entire battlefield, and bring both the autopilot and visionary into alignment. And I need to be very clear about what this means. Learning to access this part of you is not about abstract meditation or just positive thinking. It is a direct, practical skill of activating a very specific, powerful brain network. For most of us, this player is dormant. Learning to access and strengthen this part of you is the entire goal of our work together. But before we can ascend to the watchtower, we must first understand the battlefield. Until we learn to access the leader, the reality for most of us is that the ancient programming of the autopilot is winning. You might ask, but why? Is it just because it's older and it's more ingrained? Partly, but it also has a secret weapon. It wins using a devastating tactic called the hijack, where it turns our own brilliant rational mind against us. So it doesn't just make you feel scared, it makes you think scared. It doesn't just say, I'm afraid. It says, it's actually smarter to wait until the economy improves before launching that business. It uses your own intelligence against your goals. And the background anxiety or the low-grade hum of dissatisfaction in the background that you feel even when nothing is obviously wrong, that's our brain's built-in conflict detector, screaming that our actions, driven by the autopilot, are out of alignment with our soul. This conflict, this is what creates our modern misery. And this isn't just a story, it's a silent epidemic. Research from firms like McKinsey shows that rates of burnout and anxiety are at an all-time high. This isn't a problem of failure. It's a core challenge of being human right now, affecting everyone, no matter how successful they appear on the outside. But is this just a theory, or can you actually feel this war happening inside you right now? Let's not just talk about it. Let's try to feel it together. I invite you to join me in a small experiment. Right now, bring to mind one important thing you want to achieve. Something your visionary part truly wants for you. Could be a goal at work, a change in your health, or in a relationship. Really go there. Picture a real goal you have avoided, something you care about but haven't acted on. Got it? I want you to bring a clear picture of it in your mind right now. I will give a pause. Now, just listen. What was the very first voice that showed up in your mind? Was it the modern visionary's voice of encouragement, of possibility, or was it the autopilot's voice of doubt, the voice that listed all the reasons why it's too hard, why you might fail, why you should probably wait? That voice, that automatic, believable story, you just felt the first shot being fired in your inner war. So please hear this. Your procrastination, your anxiety, your feeling of being stuck, it is not a character flaw. It is the evidence of that gap we talked about. And most self-help advice makes you feel like it's your fault for not being disciplined enough to close it. It's not. It's the predictable result of the Great Mismatch, an ancient system clashing with the modern world it was never designed for. And this is why I started this channel, to give you the map, the tools, and the training ground to win this war. Because if you can't access your leader, your most human strengths, courage, your creativity, your presence remain locked away. But if you can, that's when your future self comes alive. So we have to do this work now more than ever. In a world which is being rapidly accelerated by AI, winning this inner war is no longer, in my opinion, a self-help project. It's an urgent, necessary upgrade to prepare your mind for a world that will demand more of you, not less. And I need to be very clear. While this guide is a powerful toolkit, it is never a substitute for severe trauma, professional therapy, or neurodivergence. Now, to align the inner world, you must first understand what you're up against. You have to understand its strategies, its power, and its secret programming. In the next episode of our Docuseries, we will decode the Autopilot's ancient software and reveal the secret weapon that gives it so much power over us. I'll see you in the next video. Till then, take care.